If you follow me on social media, you've probably seen me talk about a Battle of Gods fan edit that I have been working on. And if you haven't followed me on social media, or you've just missed every single one of those posts that I've made, yeah, I have been working on a fan edit of Battle of Gods. One that takes the original film and splices it together with the Beerus arc from Dragon Ball Super. When I began working on it, it was supposed to be this, fun little thing that I was going to do in my free time and probably wouldn't take me that long. Um, Over a year and a half later, I have finally fucking finished it. That's right, it's done, it is out, you can go watch it, and that's what this video is about, to make that announcement, to let you know that it is available for viewing, and to kind of talk about the behind the scenes process that I went through, making it. Now, if you do not care about any of that behind the scenes stuff and you just want to watch the fan edit, you just want to know, okay, well, where the hell is this thing? Um, that's like the tricky part because this is not fair use. Uh, so my original plan was to upload this to a site for people to torrent, and I had like a whole little bit planned for it. But then it turns out that I can't make an account for that. So change of plans. I just uploaded it to Mega. There's a link on my Blue Sky. It's a pinned post. Go there. There's a link in the description for my Blue Sky. Just go there. You'll find it there. Now that that's out of the way, time to go over like the whys and hows of this whole process. First off, why? Why did I make this? Why do a fan edit of Battle of Gods, one of, if not the most beloved Dragon Ball movie? For a lot of people, just hands down, the best Dragon Ball movie. And the answer to that is I don't like Battle of Gods. This isn't like a new contrarian opinion. I have never liked Battle of Gods. Before it came out, I was super excited. Toriyama, after all these years, coming back with a new official installment to the Dragon Ball mythos, and it ended up being a movie I did not enjoy. That was kind of soul crushing. And I couldn't have been the only person thinking that there were improvements to be made here, because when Dragon Ball Super came out, it basically addressed almost every issue that I had. And then I guess the like question now is, well, why don't I just go watch Dragon Ball Super? And the answer to that is because it's Dragon Ball Super. It has its own writing issues and pacing issues. And oh my god, they drug out this movie to 14 goddamn episodes. Though I think it makes a lot of improvements to the original film, it is an overall worse viewing experience. So I wanted to see if I could take what I thought were the best elements from Battle of Gods and the best elements from the Beerus arc of Super and put them together to make what I would consider as close to a definitive version as I could make. I say like as close to because despite them covering the exact same story, they are very different and they are incompatible in a lot of ways. Very specifically in the fact that Battle of Gods takes place at Bulma's birthday party at Capsule Corp. And in the Beerus arc, it is Bulma's birthday party on a ship. So yeah, like I had to then make the decision, okay, well, what am I going to focus on? What am I going to pull the majority of my footage from? And I ended up settling on Dragon Ball Super. Which is a bit of a bummer because I do think the movie has better animation. Duh. But I just I had to focus on just what I thought was gonna tell a better story. and that would have been the footage from Dragon Ball Super. I did try to edit things down in a way that I thought would make it better than what was in Super, but I am definitely very limited by the footage that I have. Now, for those wondering, is this sub or dub? Um, the answer is dub. Not necessarily because I prefer it. In fact, I don't. I'll watch Dragon Ball almost exclusively in Japanese. But, I don't speak Japanese, so that's already a bit of a barrier there for doing that. Also, just a simple fact that the Japanese audio does not, for Super at very least, does not have a 5.1 track, making editing it pretty much damn near impossible because I can't remove like the music from the background, and that would be really jarring when cutting from scene to scene. So I'm sure, like, there's going to be the handful of like sub purists who will be disappointed by that. I mean, hell, I'm disappointed by it. But also, I am aware that the majority of Dragon Ball fans watch this shit dubbed, prefer this shit dubbed. So I guess it's a win for the majority here. So cool, I made the most amount of people happy with that decision. So let's talk about editing. The first thing I wanted to like kind of change up a bit is the structure of the film. Nothing too radical or crazy, but Dragon Ball movies have a problem in terms of like how long it sits on a scene. Uh, like there's never any kind of interplay between moments. It is all like one scene and it goes on until the entirety of it's done, and then they move on to the next thing, and then that becomes the next scene. If I'm not making any sense, let me give you an example. Battle of Gods begins with the Kais talking about Beerus, and then Goku overhearing King Kai, and King Kai having to explain Beerus to Goku. Then we cut to Beerus waking up, and like just all the exposition that we needed for like his character and the Super Saiyan God mythos legend, and like all the way up until he leaves his planet to go confront Goku. Then I believe it goes to like Bulma's birthday party, and we get like an extended scene there. Then Beerus shows up on King Kai's planet, and that's a whole sequence. Then after that, we go back to Bulma's party. Beerus is introduced. Then the Pilaf gang get introduced, and then all of the Pilaf stuff is just like the movie just hits the brakes and there's like no interplay between these things. It's not like we're cutting from thing to thing and cutting back and forth. It is all one sequence chronologically until it is done. This is kind of a problem that permeates all of the modern Dragon Ball movies. It also permeates the Z films, but the Z films were like these short little hour-long things, so they were doing the bare minimum of setup to get you to the fighty parts. Here, these are trying to be more of actual movies, but they still have that very locked-in structure of the old Z films, despite being more theatrical in length. So with this edit, I wanted to create a bit of interplay between certain sequences. So we now start off with Beerus first waking up, the Kaios, like Supreme Kai and King Kai are reacting, and then it's cutting back and forth between Beerus, King Kai, and then we introduced like Bulma's birthday party sooner. We introduced the Pilaf gang sooner, and the Pilaf gang shenanigans are now kind of spread throughout the film as opposed to just being one big chunk in the middle of it. So that's probably in terms of like the overall feel of the film, that is going to be like the biggest change is, you know, once again, that interplay between scenes. Another big difference is the music. I have replaced almost the entire score, and the reasoning for this is I don't like Sumitomo. I'm sorry. I know he has his fans. His music just doesn't do it for me. So I knew from the beginning I really wanted to replace it. Also, this being a fan edit, I wanted to give this its own feel. The fact that I wanted it to feel different from both watching Super and watching Battle of Gods. I wanted it to have its own vibe. So then it became a matter of, well, what music am I going to put? And I didn't want to do Kikuchi because, I mean, Kikuchi's classic, but I didn't want to do Kikuchi. And I definitely didn't want to do Falconer. No disrespect to his fans, just not my jam. So then I eventually ended up settling on Kenji Yamamoto. And if you don't know that name, or maybe that name sounds familiar, he was the Dragon Ball Kai composer, the legendary plagiarist. And I wanted to use this just because, one, I actually do like the score, but also I thought it would be interesting just because this is music that's never going to be officially released ever again. Like, Toei has that shit in a vault. They've scrubbed the hard drives. You're never going to see this officially anywhere else. So I was just like, you know what? This project's already, like, breaking copyright law. Might as well just double dip on the copyright infringement. So the majority of the music comes from Dragon Ball Kai. I picked a couple of tracks from Dragon Ball Z Budokai. And there is still a little bit of Sumitomo in there. There's a couple of tracks that I left in, like just kind of ambiance stuff that I was just like, this is fine. Yeah, that's fine. Doesn't clash with the rest of what's here. And I left it. Also, talking about music replacement, Flow is not here. I think the song is Hero. Yeah. I have removed that. Technically, I didn't really remove it because the sequence in which that song drops, most of that has been excised from this edit. Not because I think that sequence is bad at all. In fact, I tried really hard to keep it because I do like it. But it just wasn't coming together. It was too incompatible with the rest of the footage from Super that I've been using up until that point. And I really wanted to lean into Super's footage for the fight because I feel like it has a pace and a structure to it that feels more meaningful than just the pretty nice animation that we got in Battle of Gods, where I do think Battle of Gods looks better. I do think Super tells a much better story with that fight. That being said, there is an insert song. I decided to go with a song from Hironobu Kageyama because honestly, I think it was kind of BS that this is supposed to be like the big comeback of Dragon Ball. Like, it was originally a Dragon Ball Z movie. It was branded as a Z movie, and you didn't have Kageyama in it. And I'm like, that didn't sit right with my soul. So yeah, I picked Super Survivor. If you are familiar with Tenkaichi 3, it was the theme song to Tenkaichi 3. And honestly, I think that song slaps. I think it goes really well with the fight that I cut together for it. Hopefully people like that and they aren't upset that I just didn't reinsert Flow back into the movie. Speaking about the removal of Flow, they are not in like the opening title sequence, nor are they in the end credits. Once again, I wanted to make this a little bit more of a tribute to, Dragon Ball. So I picked some classic Dragon Ball themes. They are specifically this. I'm not going to spoil them, but the ones I picked, but they are designed to bookend the film. those were the fun, kind of creative, expression-y parts of this process. Now let's talk about the hellish parts, the parts that made me at times regret that I had even started this goddamn project. So, as I mentioned, there's a lot of incompatibilities with the footage, and that required me at certain points to just straight up uh, cut characters out of Battle of Gods and put them into sequences in Dragon Ball Super. Some of the stuff was pretty easy. Like, okay, the Pilaf gang in Super never say why they're kids. It never comes up. It's in Battle of Gods, but it's not in Super. So that was a thing that needed to be fixed. I was like, no, this needs to be acknowledged. I need this to be like kind of a complete work. That was really simple, just kind of taking the audio from that scene and then dropping it into Dragon Ball Super.
I realize conquering the world's easier when you're rich. Plus, I'm tired of eating at soup kitchens. It's so unfair that we can't even land part-time work because we're all stuck in these fat little baby bodies!
Calm down!
Sire!
I don't want to point fingers, but earlier when Shenron offered to grant our wishes, you did tell him, Shenron, please make us young again!
I stand by that.
On the bright side, at least I've already dug a grave.
It's so unfair that we can't even land part-time work because we're all stuck in these fat little baby bodies!
You don't get to complain when it's your fault, sir! Earlier when Shenron offered to grant our wishes, you did tell him, Shenron, please make us young again!
I stand by that.
There's a lot of scenes in this movie where I just had to kind of cut and paste like audio from like the movie or Super and mix and match them with footage from the other, or just recreate entire sentences. Being very careful about like what I was picking and make sure everything flowed correctly. Those were the easy parts. The hard parts came in the form of like the Trunks My ship. That is not in Dragon Ball Super. And I'm sure for a lot of people, that is a net positive. Hell, I was kind of happy to not see it there initially. But then the Goku Black arc rolls around, they're back, and Trunks has a crush on Mai, and it's treated as if it's like this pre-established thing that they never established. It's like, oh yeah, no, you saw Battle of Gods, you know he has a crush on her. So I was like, mother fuck. And once again, my desire to make this a complete product, I had went through a lot of trouble reinserting those bits back into Dragon Ball Super. This involved me cutting characters out, also not just cutting them out. Because of the change in location, Trunks is wearing a different outfit. He's wearing like, in Dragon Ball Super, he's wearing like this Hawaiian button-down shirt. And in Battle of Gods, he was wearing like overalls. So I had to draw like his button-down Hawaiian shirt in several fucking frames.
So that cutie over there is Trunks' first girlfriend?
Yup, that's me.
Call her over, I want to meet her.
Wait, me? Oh, I'm flattered, but I don't date little boys like you, kid. Hey, hold on, you're no bigger than I am. Damn, he's right.
So that cutie over there is Trunks' first girlfriend?
Yup.
Call her over, I want to meet her.
Wait, me? Oh, I'm flattered, but I don't date little boys like you, kid. Hey, hold on, you're no bigger than I am. Damn, he's right.
I was literally like reanimating parts of shots. And then that gave me its own special brain spiders where I was just like, this shot looks bad. I wonder if I can try to make it look better. So then I reanimated a bunch of scenes. Like nothing too crazy, nothing too like intensive, because I'm not an animator. I'm not qualified for that. But there's some really off-model shots that I just needed to fix because it was driving me insane.
Could you? What did you do to my Bulma? What did you do to my Bulma?
Like, I'm not going to show you any more of them because I don't want them to be distracting to people. I'm sure they're, like, if you don't notice, awesome, great. People who are intimately familiar with the aesthetics of Dragon Ball animators, it will probably stick out like a sore thumb to them. I am not a professional artist. I am not an animator. I don't do this shit. I was just trying to make it look marginally better. Now, there's plenty more I could say about this project and the effort that went into it, but honestly, I just want people to be able to enjoy it. Like, I don't really want to go too deep into all the little nuances of the editing because honestly, at the end of the day, I don't want people to be able to pick them out. Like, if you watch through the entire movie and you don't notice these things or you only notice a thing here or there, that's great to me. That means I did a good job. Like, I want this to be a seamless viewing experience for as many people as possible. Also, I guess it's inevitable people are going to ask, more fan edits? You know, Resurrection F? Maybe cut down various arcs of Super. I want to, but honestly, this has been hell, and though I know I will make another fan edit at some point for Dragon Ball, it will not be this year. Next year I might start another one. And the upside is, whatever I do next, it will be much easier because I won't be working with incredibly incompatible footage. So, like, I might have to get a little creative with, like, how I edit audio or, like, a couple of shots here and there, but I will not be working with wholly incompatible footage at times. Also, what would that next project be? Resurrection F seems like the obvious one, but honestly, there's a good chance I might take a crack at Daima, because I have a lot of problems with Daima. Daima, not good. So maybe by the time I decide, well, I'm going to take another crack at doing a fan edit, there will be an official release of Daima for me to get, like, audio from and all that jazz. And I can, you know, make a version of Daima that doesn't just waste my goddamn time. Or potentially a version of Resurrection F that does not suck as much as the original film did. Now, despite this being a one-person show, like, this whole thing was edited by me from the ground up, I did get a little bit of assistance. First off, I want to give some cred to Trent, aka at Woodland Buckle, on Twitter, X, whatever the fuck you want to call it. He was working on his own attempt at a Battle of Gods fan edit. Not sure if he still is, but he, because I was working on mine, he had offered me, like, hey, I did some stuff with the audio. I have an audio track that I made of Battle of Gods with the sound effects and music removed, or as close to removed as he could, by, like, messing with the levels and whatnot. And he was like, do you want this? And I was like, yes, please. Oh my god. That actually saved me a good bit of headache in a few places. So big shout out to him for hooking me up with that. He didn't need to. Really appreciate it. Also, shout out to the Mr. Doggo on Twitter, because he had pointed out to me that I had fucked up the audio and that I had like it was biased towards, like, one of the, like, the left and right. It was biased towards, like, one of the speakers. So he just made like, leveled that out for me and has sent me like the audio track back, and I was just like, oh, sick, awesome. Now I don't even need to fix that. So thank you, doggo. Also, completely like really unrelated, but I am very appreciative to like Kaiser Neko's like behind the scenes for Dragon Ball Z Abridged, because him going through that process is kind of what made me look at this project and go, this is doable. I could do this. So, like appreciation there for him sharing his methods and like, putting this seed in my brain. So yeah, anyhow, that's it. You guys know where to go. So anyhow, I put a lot of effort into it. I'm really proud of it. I hope you guys like it. Till next time, Xeon out.